Tina Chen joins us now. She's a vice provost, going to be telling us about equity here at the U of M and some of the numbers. The federal government has some goals. Tell us about what those goals are and how you guys were able to, surpass them.
Yeah, well, the federal government set out a 50-30 challenge, and really this is about kind of thinking about gender parity, so aiming to have 50% women or non-binary people in leadership positions on boards, and then 30% that would be Indigenous, racially marginalized, or people with disabilities. So trying to think about how do we build diverse leadership teams. And so when we began to look at that for U of M, we ran a survey 2023 among our senior leadership team, and the numbers look pretty good, and I think really we're very happy about that. Over 60% of the leadership are women or non-binary, and also far exceeding the 30% threshold for those who are Indigenous, racially marginalized, or people with disabilities. So that's the good news part of the story.
When it comes to the work that still needs to be done, or even, maintaining that mindset here at the institution, what is that plan? What's the hope?
Well, I think there's two parts to those plans. First of all, just being present doesn't mean that we've addressed all parts of sexism, racism, forms of oppression. So obviously continuing to work to foster a vibrant community, think about where the barriers are and how we make people feel like they truly belong and are valued, and that's a really big project. But I think the second part that's really important is how do we foster that next generation of leadership? How do we ensure that women and non-binary folks see themselves in leadership? And so to do that, we have a number of initiatives, working with the Vice Provost Students Leading Change Conference, also an Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, Accessibility, and Anti-Oppression Forum, thinking about student leaders in these spaces. What do they need so that they build the skills over time? And my office also runs a fellowship in equity, social justice, and anti-oppression. And so thinking about how do we really build that leadership capacity, and I think build on the ideas that the students are bringing forward.
And, well, you're somebody that they can look at truly and say, hey, I could be that one day. I could be in those positions. Before we're out of time, you want anyone to know anything you want people to know?
Well, I think in this moment it's really just, especially with International Women's Day, a day to really think about how we celebrate the stories of women and really think about the excellence that's behind them. We know research tells us, right, that women are actually almost always overqualified for their positions that they move into, and I want people to really think about what that means, but also how we allow them to tell their stories, tell us how they got there and why that's so important.